Hi, welcome back. I've been away for quite a while. This is the Bit-Mage. I welcome all the new subs. I think it's been I think I did my last video when I was having around 40, 50 subs, and now we're at around 100, around 99 I think. When I'm at the moment of recording this video. So thanks for joining in. I think you guys mostly joined in because of the Emacs video. So this one is going to be about Vim, but then hear me out before you exit this whole thing. Uh, you can use Vim and Emacs side by side, and I am going to try to convince you why you should incorporate Vim into your own life, irrespective of who you are. So I do have an audience breakdown soon, but then just for the new ones, I make aesthetic rambles that you don't know you needed, and I am also more of a practical guy in terms of understanding the tools that I am into. So this is not going to be a complete tutorial of them. I don't do tutorials. I give an conceptual overview. I give a conceptual overview in this one, and try to get you started with the mindset that you need for Vim. Uh, by the way, for the existing subs, yeah, I was bedridden for a while with a case of dengue and recovering. Recovering physically is pretty easy. That took me around a week or two, but then recovering mindset-wise to get in the mode of content creation again and catching up with everything. That took a little bit of time, so sorry for that. But then, yeah, here onwards, I should be pretty regular. So let's get into it. First of all, as always, to show my keystrokes, I am going to activate W show keys. So at the bottom right, you should see my keystrokes henceforth. Uh, yeah. So I have a two window approach going on right now. In the left, I have my presentation mode for Emacs. So I'm not going to, I'm in org mode. I'm not going to go into present mode. I'm just going to stay in org mode. But then on my right, I have my terminal. So I can switch in and out of Vim whenever I want to. So that's going to happen a lot today. Uh, yeah. So who are you? First of all, you're someone who don't know what Vim is exactly, like what Emacs is, like what the intro was are. Continue watching this video. Uh, Once you watch this video, watch the Emacs video. And once you watch the Emacs video, watch the editor was video. Next, if you love them, check out the Tmux video. So that might help you elevate your working standards again. And if you love Emacs and haven't tried, or if you hate Vim, give me some time. Let me cook here. Do check out this video completely. I'm not going to say if Vim or Emacs is the best editor. I'm going to try to present it from a more conceptual standpoint as to what they do. And they have orthogonal usages. So hear me out. Give me some time. If you live in Evil Emacs, check out my setup video, the ThinkPad Fedora and Emacs video. That is pretty uh, great progression into how you can integrate Emacs and all the tools that you have into your own work setup and stuff. So, and if you, by the way, if you love Emacs and Vim, do check me out on Twitter. Yeah, do send a request and stuff. Let's connect. I mean, yeah, it's rare to find people like that. So I would like to have a network like that around me. So if you love Emacs and Vim, you use them regularly, do hit me up. I mean, of course, others can hit me up as well. Sure. The final goal should be this, I guess, loving Emacs and Vim, and then finally using Emacs. So there's that. All of you do check out the Harita Wars video, by the way. So I think I'll create a finite state machine for all the video recommendations in the comment section. Go down below. I will have created a branch, uh, as in like a state machine, as to like the path between what you should do, based on what you are currently. So that's my first interesting section of the videos that I have here and here onwards for yeah, people who come from different aspects and to completely grasp the audience. So let's get right into it. Objectives for this video: why do you need Vim? The mindset that you approach Vim with. So Vim is not just about being quick; it's also about understanding what you're doing with text. So I get into the conceptual overview of Vim, and you try to see. So your current editor right now, that is basically just you typing a key. At most, you use strokes with say or a modifier with a control or a shift, and that does some other action. So control C might interrupt your terminal or a process, or a shift C inserts a capital C instead of a small c. So at most, you must have worked with probably a single modifier or a couple of modifiers at most. So something like, yeah, inserting characters with accents and stuff, or complex UTF-8 characters, that sort of stuff is what you must have done at most. But then Vim uh, puts on a whole another abstraction onto the idea of editing text. That's what we'll try to highlight in this one. And well, I'll also, in the end, there's a bonus section where I do put in how you can integrate Emacs and Vim pretty smoothly. I mean, if you're a newbie in this whole domain of editors and stuff, and you're the kind of guy who uses VS Code with the mouse and stuff, this can be a little alien in terms of why even get into this, why bother, like what's the point, that sort of stuff. Like, isn't this just another useless hobby, that sort of stuff. Uh, over the length of this video, I'll try to change your mind. So do hear me out. And yeah, I do give some final recommendations as to how to go about managing your learning pursuits when around them. And yeah, finally, I recommend you use Emacs with Vim in it, so even Emacs. There's that. I have my reasons for that. I mean, I'll also express them in a particular video, so you should find that in the state machine below in the comment section. I mean, it's not exactly an executing state machine, it's just a flowchart. A state machine is just I guess, an alive flowchart. But yeah, that's the objectives for this video. Before that, a little bit of history. Uh, I started using Vim around 5 years ago when I was in my sophomore year. I think at the end of my freshman year, my second semester. So that was yeah, I was bored with VS Code and stuff, and I was using the mouse too much, so I hated the mouse. And the moment you search for what editors and stuff, as to see, even if you search for like alternatives to VS Code or something, a lot of people will recommend Vim and Emacs. And once you say Google for Vim and Emacs, you see a lot of passionate people on Reddit, on the internet, on YouTube, everywhere, talking about how these two are a league apart from everyone else out there. And they've been there for like what, 30, 40 years at least, I think. Let's say at least 30 years, I think. Yeah. Uh, so how are they still competing with that sort of stuff? They must have some core essence that is like worth keeping and continue passing down through generations of programmers. So that is how I found Vim. Vim is the first step into getting efficient. My personal motivations into getting Vim were like just being fast, just being quick. So into this idea of being quick, I invested a couple of what do you say, a couple of habits and that into it. So I learned touch typing when I was like around 18. So I practiced around for a month, around 10 minutes daily, and that was pretty set. I could get in like 50 WPM with a decent, yeah, not seeing the keyboard and stuff in like a span of 2 or 3 weeks. So that was there. In terms of the next upgrade to my speed, a lot what happened when I was programming was I had to reach out for the mouse to change windows and stuff, and to switch around focus between panes. That is, yeah, that is when my hatred for the mouse began, when I realized that I am wasting a lot of time moving around. So that has been structuring a lot of my tools and workflows that I currently use. So the window managers that I use is Sway right now, a Wayland-based i3 window manager fork, and yeah, even in Firefox I use Vimium. So all these sort of things as well, you should find in the technical setup video. That is again in the state machine below. So do check that out if you're into the whole speed aspect of this thing. So that's how I found Vim, and now I'm gonna say why you need Vim. That's it. Just for that itself, you should try and do that. Just for speed, get into Vim. It's going to change how you see text, how you understand, yeah, how you see text, how you perceive editing stuff, how you, yeah, it's all of your workflows. It's an initial investment, but then sure, the returns are, yeah, you can't compare the returns. It is omnipresent, is what I'll say. It's ubiquitous. Vim is everywhere, uh, in any of the tool that you want. So yeah, it's just a Vim plugin away. So and there's a huge speed up. So it's not something like switching to Dvorak. So right now I'm using a QWERTY, and the reason for that is like if I have to like log into another server or something, and there's I have to like pull in a rack somewhere and like attach keyboard, you're not going to find Dvorak. But then Vim is something, or VI is something that you'll find on any Unix instance out there, or it's just at most uninstall away. Yeah, so that's that. If you learn Vim, it is the ultimate, it is the ultimate agnostic tool that, irrespective of where you're working, you'll find it, and it'll elevate your working style right away, compared to just using a point and click GUI editor out there. So by GUI, I mean you're using the mouse, because like yeah, there are great things that are made in a GUI, and like I use Emacs, so yeah. Okay, so once that's clear of as to like why you need Vim, let's see how Vim facilitates the idea of speed. So right now, your conventional text editor, if you see, let's get into something. I don't think I have Nano on me right now. Maybe I might have gedit or a Kate or something like that. Do I have gedit? I don't think I have gedit. I do not have a normal editor, it seems. Let's just install. I don't want to install Nano. It's just going to ruin my, yeah, environment. Let's just install gedit. Okay, once I get that gedit, we'll pull out a normal editor. But yeah, until then, in a normal editor, what I'm trying to say is, at most you're using one particular. You hit a key and you see it on the screen. At most, you're using modifiers. You start thinking of text in terms of text. You start thinking of the letter S on your keyboard, of the key S on your keyboard, in terms of the letter S on your screen. You think of that as a one-to-one map. That is very limiting, and that is what Vim will help you get over. So that sort of thought that this backspace actually deletes a character, or this H is exactly just an H on the screen, is something that is very limiting for a computer scientist or a programmer, because the more elegant abstractions or the more complex abstractions that you can distill in your brain and handle, the more complex you're going to be able to, the more complex things you're going to be able to do with fewer keystrokes and stuff. So what Vim does right now is abstract. Let's see, gedit. Yeah, yeah. Let's go. So there we have an instance of gedit, and I'm already alien. So if I type something, okay, I think there's this issue, the highlighting issue. Yeah, if you see, if I type something, that's what it is. So if I just type something, yeah, that's what you see. Is what you see is what you get. That's sort of an editor. So no, I don't think that's it. It's not what you see is what you get. That's a different sort of thing. That's Microsoft Word. That's a whole different thing to be dealt with. We'll talk about that. I don't know. Probably never. But yeah, what you type in is what your mind associates as to like what is going to happen on the screen. At most, you can probably click a shift and a D, and it shows a capital D. That's the most complex abstraction that you're probably dealing with right now. So if I type a shift D, where am I? Yeah. If I type in a shift D, at most what happens is I see a capital D in here, but then on my keyboard I pressed a small d like a normal D. So your mind still associates the shift D with a capital D out there, but then visually it is not seeing the capital D out here based on like what your keyboard is doing and stuff. So yeah, the thing is, Vim allows you to handle more complex abstractions. It basically provides you with a DSL, a domain specific language for editing text. It abstracts out what you see in front of you as a program state, and instead of editing text, you're manipulating the program state. That sort of thinking helps you in understanding what is actually happening between when you press a key and what you see happening on the screen, or what is happening underneath. Now, that in itself should ring a lot of bells in your mind as to how much flexibility and how much power you can gain by altering your mind to think that. So rather than just pressing an S on your keyboard and seeing an S on the screen, you can have S as a part of a DSL or a language, a programming language in itself for editing text. And you can write functions around that S to do different things based on different contexts. And yeah, so that is something that I hope for you to understand by the end of this video. I do not want to save this. Yeah. Let's remove Jared. I don't want it. Okay, that's done. So the mindset that I want you to get into is understanding that it is manipulating the program state, not just editing text anymore. And this can be done in several ways, but then where Vim shines, and I think what VI, let's say VI, yeah, did like pioneered in is we'll skip the practical recommendations for this section. We'll get in the next one. Is having a grammar as in a DSL that I currently described. We'll get into that right now. For text, so a word, a character, a line, a paragraph, all those things are yeah, objects in Vim, nouns. And deleting a text object, copying a text object. Copying is like yanking a text object, or like cutting it or killing it, or yeah, recording a particular step of sequences over text objects in terms of these nouns and verbs executed again and again. So, for example, a particular micro program or a macro, uh, yeah, macro is a collection of sequences that you've recorded that can execute again without exactly typing those key sequences in. So that sort of stuff. If you think of text as a program state, you are opened up to all of these abstractions. And mind you, another big thing about Vim is like you do not even have to leave the home row. So if you ever, okay, so on your laptop, go around and get a feel for your F and J keys. So your F and J keys. So that's where the home row is. I mean, that's where your index fingers should lie when you're typing something. And see, there should be like sort of a yeah. Uh, there's a separate F and J keys should be like built different. Should be built differently. There's like a small uprising out there. I don't know the word right now. That's something uprising. Uprising is totally something that you should not use for keyboard keys. Small uprising out there that helps you feel the keys by not looking at them. That's where your index fingers are supposed to rest. And yeah, so your middle ring and your little finger extend to the left and right of that based on your right and left hand. So there's that. That's the home row. So the basic concept of Vim is so there's this conceptual stuff, and there's a lot of good heuristics based decisions that have been made in Vim that allow you to like actually be very productive. So first of all, you ditch the mouse, forget the mouse. Second of all, you stop using the arrow keys. Now, once you get on the home row and you know how to touch type, everything around you, all those keys, are a particular component, are a Lego piece or a piece of the puzzle for creating a statement that will do something in Vim. Now, uh, if you ask me, if everything is going to execute a statement or everything is part of a language, how do you actually insert text? So, say there are moments when you actually want the key on a D, like the D key on the keyboard to actually be a D on the screen. So for that, Vim uses modes. For now, the two major modes that you'll mostly switch in and out of are going to be normal and insert mode. So let's create a basic uh, okay. So let's create a basic file that'll work on. I'm going to like pull up Fabric, Sentinel Markdown file with all the bells and whistles. Say we want tables, we want ASCII diagrams, we want code. What does this Markdown have? Multiple heading levels, that sort of stuff. And what else do we want? uh, and make it around 2000 words. So let's give ourselves some space to work with. Let's check the prompt. Yeah, that's working. We stream it into Fabric and we stream that into a buffer. So while that is happening, it's creating a file for us that we'll work on. So yeah, we'll get into them soon. What I want to see is okay, yeah, let's wait for that to happen. Hmm. Anyway, do let me know in the comment section what exactly what sort of stuff you're into, Vim or Emacs, that sort of stuff. Do not, I mean, be civil, of course, but yeah, we have the file ready for now. Okay, so you open up Vim by just typing in Vim and the file that you want to get into. You can just open up Vim right away as well. But then this is not a tutorial. This is just going to be conceptual overview, so you're not wasting our time around with that. If you want to get into a tutorial, do get into Vim Tutor. That is a 30-minute walkthrough of using Vim. Yeah, just follow this for 30 minutes and you should be good to start. This will tell you the heuristics based decisions that Vim made that make it great. But then we're going to talk about the conceptual things, the programming abstractions and everything. So let's open buffer.txt. Now, okay, sure. Okay, so it has done stuff. It has given us markdown. There's an ASCII diagram. Yeah, there's tables. That's good. There's lists. There's a program. Nice. So this is something that we can work with. There's JSON objects and everything. So this is something that we can work in right now. Okay. Vim buffer.txt. That's how you open a file. In the end, when you enter something in Vim, you are in normal mode. So normal mode is where the DSL is active, like active. The core DSL is active. The core Vim DSL is active. If you want to insert something, you go in the insert mode, and you can do that by particular elements of the whole DSL. So, for example, I allows you to insert at point. Uh, okay, let me show you that again. I pressed O accidentally. O also allows you to insert on the next line. S allows you to replace everything and insert in the place. So I'm saying a lot of things right now here, but then what I want you to do here is like there's multiple ways to get in and out of modes. So if I want to get from the normal mode to an insert mode, I can do that via multiple ways. Right now, if I hit and O, I'll go in the insert mode and it'll put me in the insert mode on the next line. If I press a shift O, it'll put me into insert mode in the previous line. So let's do that. And now if I type something, say if I type an H, I'll actually see an H out there. Let me magnify things for you so you can see it better. Yeah, if I type a J, I'll actually see a J out there. Now, you can also get out of an insert mode by pressing escape. Now you're back to your whole normal mode thing. And say if you want to delete something. Now, delete is a verb. And let's say I wanted to delete a line. So Vim has like let's start with I wanted to delete a word. So I'll hit DAW and that it deleted the word for me. Let's say I wanted to delete everything at the end of this line. I could just hit Shift D and that deletes everything. A quick undo, again a verb, is just going to be U. Now, let's say recording stuff. So the quick benefit of like having everything as a DSL is that you can create statements, collections of statements, and actually understand what is actually abstract away actually decouple the execution of those statements from the conceiving those statements. For example, uh, I want to insert, let's say, at the start of each line, I want to insert probably a serial number, something like that. Serial number. That's it. Yeah, I want to insert a serial number. I don't remember how to insert numbers right now, in terms of a sequence or anything like that. Let's say I just want to insert an asterisk before each of these particular lines. So I could just record a macro. A macro is a collection of okay, the DSL entities, a noun or verb, collection of group of those that that you can record and execute again. So let's say you can do that. It's not important how I'm doing it exactly. But you can do it by hitting Q, hitting a letter A to record into it. So if I'm at any point in the line, I go at the start of line by pressing 0. I hit shift insert to get into insert mode at the start of the line. The getting at the start of the line was like irrelevant. But then I hit an asterisk, and then I get into escape to finish my macro, and I stop recording it. And if I go down and I hit A, and I hit at the at symbol and A, that'll execute the macro. So I can, okay, do you see the right thing? I hit shift E that and A, that executes the macro. I can do it again. So yeah, there you go. That's how you execute stuff. Now, I am the kind of guy who is more of a visual mode sort of guy. So for example, let's delete that. There's also a visual mode in them that allows you to copy stuff. So, for example, if I wanted to insert an asterisk everywhere, I could just go into visual block, select multiple things. So this is like creating alternate cursors, and hit Shift I, insert the asterisk, escape, and it inserts everything for you. That's what I usually do. I usually don't use macros a lot if I'm like doing very small things. Or yeah, you can probably just there's a lot of patterns that you can follow. That is something that comes on later. Like we'll talk about that, how you can learn them uh, in terms of getting at the advanced things and everything like that. So what I want you to understand, all of these are objects. So for example, if I wanted to, this visual block also allows me to treat these entities. So this is a block of text. I can yank it, I can completely paste it as it is without without uh, messing around with the surrounding characters a lot. With a normal editor, you'll probably have to deal with a lot of tabs and spaces. Yeah, there you go. So something like this, I can like replicate this pretty easily. I go into the visual mode, I select this. Now I yank it, I copy it, again a verb. So I went to visual mode, I initiated the visual mode, I went into selection, that was a verb. I selected the whole thing, I copied it, that's another word. With that visual selection that I had, that is my noun, I can now paste it again in action in the normal mode. This is something that I can do with a lot of things in Vim. It's yeah. So there's that. Again, there's a few basic things that you can do. So for example, splits. I can have multiple splits open. I can have terminals open. I can edit directories in the sense navigate directories. So yeah, let's see. I am into this current directory right now. If you see, yeah, I see the buffer.txt, and the swap is a file that that Vim uses to just manage unwritten buffers and stuff. I'm not getting the terminology right now, buffers, panes. That is something that you can learn easily. What I'm trying to impart here is why you should bother learning Vim. Not how to learn Vim, that those things are easy, answering that is easy, but why learn Vim? Because when I started into it, all of these are pretty much heuristics. So what you see right now, what I'm doing right now, it's out of muscle memory, creating splits and tabs and stuff. It's yeah. uh, but then why exactly those keys, or why exactly that particular pattern? The heuristics, the wisdom behind those heuristics is what I want to present today. So it's not a Vim tutorial, but it's more of a conceptual initiation into learning Vim. So even for the Emacs guys, I know Emacs does a good job of abstraction as well, but then the heuristics in Vim are, I believe, wiser. So I would consider, yeah, that is why I sort of used Vim for around 18 months, and because of Lisp, I shifted to Emacs. I'll not go deeper into that particular phase of my life right now. It's there in another video that you should find in the descriptions. So there's that. I would recommend that you spend enough time understanding the core philosophies of Vim and Emacs both. So yes, what Vim allows you to do is go from that one key press being a key on the screen to it being an action on a finite state machine, with your screen being the program state, the state machine's state. That is fairly powerful in itself, and that sums up the whole thing. if you are a computer science guy or gal, and you get what I'm saying. That is like I think inspirational enough to get into Vim in terms of what it can allow you to do. So for now, let's exit. Yeah. Uh, okay. Do excuse the typos. I'm a little sleepy right now. I haven't had my coffee yet. Uh, there's that. Okay. So yeah, once. Okay. So I think we now know why you should consider getting into Vim. Uh, so some practical recommendations are to how to manage your learning, how to get into it actually. Start using Vim, ditch the mouse, and the brief overview of what I use daily is this is something. Okay, so what I'm saying is it's pretty vast. So you do not need to know everything to be efficient with Vim. What I mostly use is like let's say I get into Vim. I create a lot of splits if I want to. I can pull up terminals. I can move around splits and tabs. I can insert text. I can create new files and let's say .txt. I can copy text around. I can be quick with it. I can what let's say yeah. I can insert random stuff anywhere and everywhere. I can randomly cut chunks out and paste there somewhere else. So just that sort of stuff is this is again me not thinking of keys on the keyboard as doing stuff. My fingers are executing the commands, the nouns and the verbs, the collection of statements without my mind thinking of the keys that I'm pressing. So what Vim will ultimately help you do is stop thinking of the keyboard in terms of keys that you press and you see on screen, but more like a control center for the program state on your screen. And that is very powerful. That is what Vim does to you. So, and learning and everything, that's just a practice aspect, and that you will get that easily. Vim is not so Vim is not something that you should get into just cause you're using a JKL instead of the arrow keys. It's something that you should get into cause the thought that is went behind into it is what matters, and that will like leave you a much better manipulator of program state, I would say. So yeah, uh, that's what I said. So use Vim. Anytime you feel like you need to pick up the mouse, Google, because like there's probably a way to do it in a few chords and keystrokes in Vim. Yeah, it's going to be it takes a little time, but then the returns are incomparable. It doesn't compare in the amount of time you're going to save and the amount of yeah the amount of yeah just stuff you can do and stuff like what you see people moving around with their arrow keys and mouse and like yeah you're gonna yeah you're gonna judge a whole bunch of people. You get to like play a little bit of superiority complex and stuff. Don't do that. I mean, don't do that until you get into Emacs. But yeah, you can start getting into it, is what I'm saying. So learning, forget that there's a mouse. There is no mouse. Uh, always keep your fingers on the home row. You can probably also disable your arrow keys. I think that's a good way to learn it. Use Vim a lot. Try to uh, yeah try to shift it into daily workflow. So, I mean, if you're a student, you can probably be very aggressive and stuff. But then, if you're someone who's already working in a very productive text editor, you might want to not hurt your productivity. So you might want to fit this in your non-work time, I'm guessing, or your work time if you're feeling pretty aggressive and stuff. But do phase it in somehow. I would not. Okay, so there's another way of starting into it is like by a VS Code plugin, but then it does not give you the VS Code plugin or any of those other plugins. But then it does not give you the full intention, the full experience of what Vim is. Vim that something that I've not touched in this particular video because of course this is a conceptual intro, not even an overview is that Vim integrates well with the whole Unix philosophy. So, There's a whole bunch of other modes than just normal insert and visual that allow you to do a whole bunch of other things. And yeah, so it integrates very well with the whole Unix way of things. So if you really want to be a CLI ninja sometime down the lane, which you want to, believe me, you want to. I am not one yet, but then I'm getting there. Uh, you should consider using vanilla Vim for whatever you do for some time, for some serious amount of time. The serious amount of time for me was around 18 months. So that's when I got into Vim, Tmux, a lot of CLI tools and everything. That's when I've grown the most as a programmer in terms of learning all these utilities and like being efficient with them. Not just learning how to use them, but understanding how things actually are supposed to work in terms of how you write modular programs or like how you pipe stuff in and out and how you're supposed to design programs, interfaces between programs, that sort of stuff. So this is something that you would not want to miss out on. And if you just go for a VS Code plugin of Vim, what you're doing is you're actually getting into the heuristics, but then losing the wisdom, is what I'll say. So, I mean, of course, if you know Vim and then you're using VS Code, like 'cause all the fancy bells and whistles, which of course you can also set up in Vim with plugins, and yeah, that sort of stuff you could write your own extensions and anything like that. But then that's not the point of this video. Uh, do consider, yeah, just using vanilla Vim and building your own config uh, by yourself. Don't just copy anything out there. Even if you're copying something, try to understand what they're doing, is what I'll say. I think that's a lot for this video. We talked a lot. I hope now you understand, or at least you're sort of intrigued by the idea of Vim. For those that have stayed this long, there's a bonus section. Uh, let's see. I would recommend you use Vim for some time and then use Emacs because Vim elevates editing text from pressing keys to seeing the keys on the screen to manipulating abstractions. Emacs is okay. I thought hard when I like framed that particular thing. So what you see here, Emacs is going to abstract away the abstraction manipulator into being manipulable itself. So it increases your expressiveness. If you really want to get into the whole, let's say, why I say this and stuff, Emacs is basically a Lisp machine, and your editor is basically just a live program that you're using to edit programs, and you're editing the editor program based on what you do in it and stuff. And like, yeah, you're also doing that. You're editing the program and what it edits at the same time, and like at all times, it's a live breathing process. Yeah, that is a fairly loaded statement in computer science in terms of the beauty that it holds. So, uh that is why, yeah. Okay, so my logo, the Bit-Mage, you see the brackets around. Those are inspired by Lisp, of course. A lot of people that might be into Emacs already know that. But then, yeah, also the tagline of the whole thing. If you go to my YouTube banner and stuff, apply eval, sudo explore exploit, that sort of stuff, is again a reference at the metacircular evaluator and stuff. So Emacs is probably based on one of the most elegantly distilled wise concepts in computer science, homoiconicity, which metaprogramming and stuff, and like which allow you to like, yeah, it gives you a whole different perspective. So do learn Vim. I personally spent around 18 months in it, and I am using it every day and stuff. And there's no two things about it. What Vim does for you is it makes you a practically efficient person. But then what Emacs does for you is it makes you wiser in a different way. Yeah, it facilitates it. Of course, you can just learn Lisp for itself, like and write Lisp in Vim. But then why would you write Lisp in Vim if Emacs exists? So yeah, that's the bonus section. And yeah, if you see that visual line right now, you can see that I'm using Vim in Emacs. So you don't. It's not like you're choosing one. I'm in insert mode. See the insert out there. Yeah, I can also have the Emacs mode where I'm like into Emacs bindings and stuff. So what I'm saying is you don't have to choose. And I say don't choose. I'll say be a little crazy and use everything. Yeah. So just explore. I mean, that's all I'll say. I hope this was good for you. Do let me know in the comments what do you think of this whole thing. I think I am releasing this exactly. Let me check right away. I think at this moment in time, I have around 99 subs. 9900. Yeah, 99. Okay. So if you see this, I think yeah, we're at 99 subs. So that's great. This is just in time to like be the pre-100th video. And if you want to take a few things away from this video, it's that yeah, is that Vim is great, Emacs is great. They're both doing independent things. If you don't know what any of them does, check out the state machine, check out the flowchart of videos that I recommend you to watch. And okay, finally, for all the other guys who stuck through and stuff and like who yeah, uh, do do let me know what in the comments like what do you guys think and like yeah, do you like this sort of content? Uh, do excuse the delays in the videos, as I already mentioned, I was not in the best of my health and yeah. So again, getting in the best of my health physically is easier than getting into the content creation mindset and stuff. So I'm getting started again. I will have a video about these sort of things again soon. I will be regular henceforth. I mean, rather than saying that I should just post videos, right? Yeah, I've said that too many times. Yeah, let's skip that thought. Anyway, thanks for sticking through. Do like, share, subscribe if you like the video, if you feel like sharing it, or if you feel like you'd enjoy more of these videos. This was a Bit-Mage. See you in the next one. Thanks again.